A deadly virus breaks out mid-flight, turning passengers and even the pilot into vicious zombies. Can anyone make it out alive? Let's find out. At Los Angeles Airport, flight attendants Jenny and Paula prepare for their next trip. Captain Forrest and co-pilot Wilsey chat with them, noting the flight will have few passengers due to the thunderstorms. Wilsey takes some medicine because he's feeling unwell. The attendants meet the passengers. George, a teenager who dislikes attention. Bev, with her husband Dr. Kingston, who has Parkinson's and can't move or speak. Army medic Shyla, who's nervous about flying. And Louise, relaxing with her cat. Niall and Susan, expecting a baby, sanitize their seats due to their germophobia. Henry brings a cage of hamsters, but Ralph gets bitten trying to help store it. And the cage is sent to the cargo hold. Businessman Preston keeps sneezing, showing signs of the same illness as Wilsey. As the plane takes off, Jenny reminds Niall to hang up his phone, but when he refuses, Henry steps in, leading to an argument. Jenny warns them they could be arrested if they don't behave, and Henry flirts with her afterward. He watches the news and learns that the CDC has quarantined an apartment building in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Ralph feels unwell, staring at the bite on his thumb. Jenny checks on him, but he suddenly vomits all over her, foaming at the mouth and demanding to get off the plane. The attendants try to assist him, while nobody notices Louise's cat eating the vomit. As Jenny goes to clean up, Ralph panics and charges down the corridor, pounding on the cockpit door. Wilsey follows protocol and locks the door as Forrest alerts ground control. Henry and George try to stop Ralph, but are overpowered. Eventually, Preston, George, Paula, and Shyla help Henry subdue Ralph, eyeing him up with plastic restraints. Shyla checks on the passengers, ensuring no one is injured, while Jenny, shaken, confides in Paula about feeling useless during the emergency. Forrest announces an emergency landing, and the plane shakes violently on descent. Ralph's body slides across the cabin, so Jenny and Paula try to secure him. As Paula struggles with the seatbelt, Ralph wakes up, eyes bloodshot, and bites her nose. The passengers team up again to force Ralph into the bathroom, locking him inside. As the plane lands, Shyla treats Paula's injury, using a scarf to stop the bleeding. But Paula needs urgent medical attention. Frustrated, Forrest defies ground control's order to wait and heads for an unassigned gate. Baggage handler Ed sees the plane and opens the gate just in time. Forrest and Wilsey hold the bathroom door shut while the passengers evacuate, except for Bev and Kingston, who need assistance. Ed leads the group to a locked door, forcing them to take an alternate route through an employee entrance into the airport staging area. The group takes the stairs, with Ed reaching the other doors, only to be shocked. They're all locked. This never happens. Checking the power box, he confirms they're under lockdown, and everything they do is being monitored on the security cameras. An argument breaks out on what to do, but it's cut short by the sudden sound of sirens. Looking out the window, they see ambulances and police cars outside. Before they can react, the window is covered, and a voice announces that they're quarantined until help arrives. Passengers frantically call their families, then turn their anger on Jenny, blaming her as the airline representative. Jenny stands helpless, but Shyla interrupts the chaos, mentioning she has a medical kit in her luggage that could help Paula survive a few more hours. Jenny, Ed, and a few others go with her to find the kit. As they search, the power cuts out. Ed uses his flashlight to guide them back to the plane, only to discover Wilsey and Forrest are missing. They check the bathroom, blood everywhere. Preston heads for his laptop and bumps into Kingston, sitting alone. His wife is gone. Silently, Kingston points to a pair of plastic cuffs chewed through. Meanwhile, Ed cuts through the carpet, revealing a hatch leading to the baggage hold. Jenny retrieves Shyla's medical kit, and Niall grabs a gun from his suitcase. Ed panics when a rodent scurries by, but Henry insists it's one of his hamsters, showing them a broken cage. As Jenny climbs back up, she spots Preston's laptop, now smeared with blood. At the end of the corridor, Wilsey, on all fours, growls, bloodied and rabid. Suddenly, Forrest, now infected, attacks Jenny. The group rushes to help, but punches have no effect, forcing Niall to shoot Forrest, blood splattering across his face. They flee the plane and find Kingston thrown from his wheelchair, and Preston, unconscious, with a bite on his neck. Nearby, Bev cries for help, but as Jenny approaches, Bev transforms and attacks. Jenny barely escapes, and the group locks her out. Back with the others, Shyla works to keep Paula stable while Susan cleans Niall's face. Henry and Ed barricade the door, but Jenny, noticing blood drops on the floor, worries. Shyla explains that whatever this is, it's not a known disease. Jenny recalls the news about another building under quarantine. Kingston spots a rat with red eyes but can't warn them in time. It falls on his head, biting him before George knocks it away. They catch the rat, and Shyla treats Kingston's wound. The group decides to lock George and Paula in a crate, just in case they turn. Ed notices a tag on the rat's leg, realizing it escaped from a lab. George accuses Henry of lying about his hamsters, insisting he saw long tails in the cage earlier. Henry denies it, but Jenny confronts him. He swears he didn't bring lab rats, arguing they wouldn't have passed security. As they embrace, Ralph suddenly appears and attacks Jenny, with Henry unable to stop him. Others rush in and strangle Ralph with a hose. Just then, Ed gets a radio message. The CDC has arrived. Group gathers by the door, but instead of being let out, 4 armed officers enter. They take the rat and administer injections to Paula and Kingston while keeping the group at gunpoint. The group demands answers, but the officers insist it's protocol. They demand everyone take an injection. Hesitant, Louise volunteers, but just before the injection, her cat bites her and runs off. An officer opens fire but misses every shot. Kingston transforms, attacking the officer. The others shoot him down, but as they try to leave, they find the door locked. They shoot it open, escaping outside with the group following. Outside, police open fire, killing everyone except one agent who's only shot in the leg. Group drags him inside. Hearing infected people approaching, they hide in a container. Susan hesitates when she notices Niall foaming at the mouth, forcing the others to drag her in. Shyla points out each injection had a different color, raising suspicion. Henry reveals a gun and forces the agent to confess. He's from the Chemical Biological Domestic Terrorism Organization, CBDT, not the CDC. They had found a bioterror lab in LA and tried to develop a cure, but it worsened the infection, and this group was the next trial. The agent then takes Henry's gun and kills himself. Nika breaks down, while Ed recalls that an old drainage tunnel might offer an escape. Suddenly, Wilsey grabs Ed through a container opening. Henry tries to shoot him but has no bullets, so Ed gets George to crush Wilsey by lifting the container. Afterward, Jenny notices Henry is missing as they move on. Nika, walking at the back, is suddenly dragged away. The group hurries up the stairs, with Jenny tripping and finding the transformed Paula. She fights and kills Paula with a wrench. Then they find the terminal blueprints showing a path to the drainage tunnel. George reveals he stole Henry's bag, finding lab documents in a mysterious box. Susan and Niall attack. Henry returns and shoots them. Ed notices Henry was bitten. George opens the box, finding medicine and a syringe. Henry confesses he brought the rats and is part of the bioterror cult aiming to wipe out humanity. He threatens to kill Jenny unless George gives him the antidote, so Ed jumps on him and is shot dead. The group surrenders the antidote, and Henry mixes it with his blood before injecting it into his eye. He explains his cult has infiltrated various organizations, allowing him to smuggle in the rats. Henry escapes with George as a hostage. Jenny, disoriented, tries to follow but is delayed by an infected Preston. She manages to kill him with a hatch lid. Meanwhile, Shyla retrieves thermal goggles and tells Jenny she's been bitten, asking her to go after George while she buys time. Shyla distracts the infected and is killed. Jenny finds the hole Henry opened and is grabbed by Louise. She knocks her out with the wrench. Jenny follows Henry's blood trail and finds the blueprints and his shirt near a ladder. She descends to find George, who tells her the antidote didn't work, and Henry has transformed. Despite George's warnings, Jenny goes down. Henry attacks her. George, using the goggles, shoots him down. Jenny finishes him off with a wrench blow to the head. As flames erupt from the hatch, they realize the terminal is being burned down. They find a blocked exit, but locate a baggage tunnel. Jenny, now infected, lets George go first with the goggles. As they escape, Jenny transforms and tries to grab George through the bars, but she's too large to follow. George removes his jacket, freeing himself, and escapes.